Tomorrow we are having a new moon in Aquarius with master number 11 all over it. Are you ready for this? Let's dig in.
Time to get back to natural.
Peace family, SabrinaSahara of Back to Natural here with another one take video. You know, I like to keep it natural, mistakes and all. So this time I want to talk about this new moon that we are having tomorrow. That is a new moon in Aquarius, a lot of Aquarius energy happening, as you may have heard me speak about. And if you are into all of this as above, so below stuff, then you have been hearing about the age of Aquarius for quite some time. And this new moon is no different in regards to the jam-packed power and intensity that we are going to be experiencing as a result of Aquarius's earth sign, spirituality, you know, all about community and collective consciousness and coming together. And we have also Mercury in retrograde as well in the sign of Aquarius. We also had the Great Conjunction, as you may have heard me speak about, and pretty much the whole world speak about, that happened this past winter solstice, which was also in Aquarius, 0 degrees Aquarius. And it was the first time that that conjunction happened between Saturn and Jupiter in an air sign in Aquarius, particularly in 200 years. Before that, when this conjunction happens every 20 years, it was happening in earth signs. So again, all of that was just kind of shifting our collective consciousness and coming a little bit more into thinking about the community and thinking about the collective, how to live in service of others. And again, this new moon is really propelling that energy for us. Given the fact that new moon energy is usually about beginnings and planting seeds and starting something new, or really kind of pouring a little bit more into what it is that we've already started, the Mercury retrograde makes it a little bit trickier to do that. So the only difference I would say with this new moon, given how potent it is, and we definitely want to use the energy and work with the energy, but also keeping in mind Mercury in retrograde, which is more often about kind of taking a step back and not necessarily going full speed ahead on certain plans. It's really about re-energy. So any word that you can think of that has re in it in regards to revisions, reflect, you know, redirect, anything like that. It's important to kind of take that time to look at what it is that you are planting, the seeds that you do want to plant, and plot before you plant, if that makes sense. So again, Mercury retrograde is about communication, and there's a lot of, you know, problems sometimes in our communication when Mercury is in retrograde. It affects technology as well, so there's a lot of issues with our phones and computers and a lot of system glitches and stuff. I'm all about backing stuff up on a regular basis, but especially when Mercury is in retrograde. So definitely back it up while Mercury is backing it up. So definitely pay attention to your bank statements, screenshot as much as you can in regards to certain things that you want to keep track of, and make sure that if the bank calls you and tells you you got $0 in your account, you're like, nah, that's not what happened yesterday. So just keep a track of all of that kind of stuff, particularly when Mercury is in retrograde, which does happen about 3 or 4 times per year. So we are not out of the woods when this Mercury retrograde is over on the 21st. But just keep all of that in mind, again, particularly in regards to this new moon that is coming tomorrow. Again, it is the 11th of February, so we've got master number 11 energy all infused in this new moon as well, again with such an earth sign, Aries air sign, and just bringing in that kind of free-flowing energy. So that is kind of creating a much thinner veil than usual in regards to our access to our angels and our ancestors. So definitely hone in to that energy. The new moon is going to peak at 2:05, 2:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I try to be, you know, very immersed in meditation or particular ritual right at the peak. I put all of my crystals and my elixirs and all of that stuff out. There's a lot of different rituals that I do as well. I wear white usually. I have a gathering with the queens that, you know, I come together and we just talk and manifest and build every new moon. So that's something that is definitely always on the itinerary. I do, grand menage in terms of cleaning up the apartment and, cleansing out the space, my salt bowls, the whole nine. I may do a separate video specifically on my new moon rituals. I believe I did one for my full moon rituals, which some of them are somewhat the same, just in terms of clearing space out and decluttering and things like that. But for new moon, I also like to pamper myself. I like to take care of myself. And ladies, especially what I'm talking about in regards to not taking the time often to, really think about our own self-love and self-care and pampering and such. So the new moon is an awesome time, at least once a month, to just put you first and, just to think about all of those little things that we do when we getting ready for, what I'm talking about. Do that for yourself. Whether you're going to be the only one to see it all or not, do it for you. And, I wash my hair, I shave my legs and all of that stuff. I do my nails, and I just really take the time as if I'm having a date night with myself. So that is a great thing to do every new moon. So try your best to take the time to do that. Again, with the retrograde as well as new moon energy, there's going to be a lot of, again, revision, right? Revisiting things, and energies may kind of resurface. Again, if you think about all these words, it's going to be, it's something that's so on point when we think about new moons, but particularly retrograde energy. And, you got that RE in retrograde to kind of remind you, and again, remind of all of the words that are so relevant when it comes to a Mercury retrograde in particular, and retrogrades in particular. So pay attention to all those things and energies that kind of, resurface, and people that come back and things like that. And, again, it's a time for you to think about what is important for you, to be more discerning in regards to your time. Another thing, as you see, I have some beautiful Casablanca lilies right here next to me. In regards to the pampering thing and kind of date night for yourself, buy yourself some flowers. I buy myself flowers, We've got love energy coming up with Valentine's Day on Sunday. So it's just kind of thinking about that self-love, and whatever it is that you feel like you might be waiting on from someone else, don't wait on them. Just do it for you, take the time. And this new moon energy, again, is so poignant in doing that for yourself. We've got a stellium in Aquarius as well, which is super powerful energy. And a stellium is when there are 3 planets that are residing in the same sign. And in this case, we're talking about Aquarius. So we've got the moon in Aquarius, we've got the sun in Aquarius, we've got Mercury, again, retrograde, particularly in Aquarius. We've got Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter all chilling in Aquarius. And the last time we had energy that potent in Aquarius was in the 60s. And in the 60s, we had the one love, the peace, and the flowers, and the, all everybody just Woodstock kind of vibes. So it's interesting to feel and to think about what that and this energy could bring, given that, very rare, focus on the collective and community and just harmony and living in service of others. So let's all take the time to do our part to think about that age of Aquarius energy and spirit, and how this new moon is going to propel us into doing that. And even though, again, the retrograde kind of has us not necessarily, doing our planting, it's really about intentional work. It's really about vision board work and, thinking through what it is that we actually want to do. When we do plant seeds, we do, again, have to plot, right? We do have to kind of think about exactly what seeds we want next to what. We want to make sure that we're not going to put our peppermint next to this, because our peppermint's going to overgrow and you don't want it to take over. So all of these things are part of the gardening process. And this is really a time to think about gardening for ourselves and tending to our gardens, and, being as watering and as sun-filled as we can for our particular journey and our purpose and our passion. And given the idea of passions and purpose, in my Minute Motivation this morning, it was really inspired by that. And just thinking about, how easy it is to find your purpose and your passion when you are aware of what it is that you do, that you lose complete track of time when you're doing. When you're not watching the time, when you're just completely entranced and enthralled in what it is that you're doing, that is your passion, that is your purpose. And it is so much more fulfilling when you are thinking outside of yourself and when you're doing something for someone else. In my case, I was, blending and bottling some of my Back to Natural Potent Potions oils and making some pendants and stuff, which I want to share as well, my new moon piece. So I will put a picture up of that separately so you can see it. But I've been doing, my oils and my crystals and getting orders, and it's just so amazing and beautiful. And I feel so grateful to be doing work that I'm passionate about and that I feel is my purpose, but that's helping others. That's doing something for someone else. And that, again, is what this energy is all about, is really, really, truly thinking about, think about what your why is. It's easy for us to remember and to stay true to ourselves and to our passions and to our purpose when we know our why. When we think about, this is why I wake up in the morning and do this. This is why this is so important to me. This is why there is nothing that can sway me from this path and from this decision that I've made. So think about your why. Focus on your why. Start with yourself. Oftentimes we've got this list of whys, lists of investments, lists of things that, we're passionate about, and we're not on the list. So I also challenge you for this new moon energy to put yourself on the top of that list. And that is, again, also part of that, taking the time to pamper yourself. And just again, when you think about reevaluating and again revisiting and redoing certain things, like, always think about yourself first and what it is that you want to do better for you. The more you take care of you, the easier it's going to be for you to take care of others. I constantly say that it is so important to fill up your own cup and let others drink from the overflow. If your cup is full and is overflowing, that water is going to go all the way over, and people are going to get what they're supposed to get, and they're going to be filled up, and you're going to be filled up, and nobody's going to be depleted. So especially if you are the caregiver, if you are the nurturer, if you are the mother, if you are the one that's wearing multiple hats throughout the day, it is that much more important for you to make sure that you are taking care of you and not waiting on someone else to take care of you. That creates expectations, that creates resentment, and so many other things. And we really do have to focus on finding happiness for ourselves within ourselves. And then that way we can just flow and we can just go and we can just be. And it's going to be so much easier for us to be true to ourselves. So definitely think about that again as we go through this new moon energy. I have some notes on my whiteboard here. I want to make sure that I'm not forgetting. Again, I'm going to probably do something separate for the rituals. And again, just thinking about with this Aquarius energy, it's about collective consciousness. It's about thinking about who your tribe is, who's your community, who is your family, who do you consider tribe vibe. When you do something, who you want to come along, who you want to benefit off of what it is that you're doing. So when you're able to, again, start with yourself, obviously on top of that list, and then you can work your way down in regards to, who is important to you and, who you want to benefit from the choices that you make. It's going to be so much easier for you, again, to kind of adhere to these seeds that it is that you want to plant, and just, again, thinking about how people can benefit from what it is that you do, can benefit from your passion, can benefit from your purpose, because it's so much more fulfilling when you are doing something in service of others, for me anyway. But I think that when you're able to do something that you love and then someone else is able to see it and appreciate it and value it, it kind of takes it up a notch. So that's another thing too, is to be very mindful of your surroundings, of the people that you have within your space, whether it's physically or whether it's energetically, and to be very, very discerning of your energy and protective of your energy, because just, thinking about what it is that you want to do moving forward when it comes to your passion, when it comes to your vibration. It is so important for you to stay high vibration when you're manifesting, when you're connecting with your angels and your ancestors, and for you to have that access to divine realms and for your own power and your higher self to continue to elevate. And if you have energy and people kind of bringing you down and affecting your vibe and kind of trying to take you out of alignment, then it's going to be that much harder. And it's kind of like it's always going to be setting you back to zero while you're trying to rise, in this energy. So be mindful of that and be strong enough and choose you. Remember that saying no to someone else is saying yes to you. And sometimes we do have to say no to someone else, especially if it's that much more important to say yes to ourselves. So that's it for this particularly energy overview for this new moon. I'm going to share a little bit more, probably do a couple more videos regarding some rituals. Might do some card readings and different things like that. And that's it for now. Thank you for touching base. And I wish you all of the abundance this universe has to offer. And lest we forget that it is not about getting back to normal. It is time to get back to natural.